How are you getting on? Welcome to the On Your Own Time podcast. I'm your host, Declan Toland, and thanks for taking some time out of your day to join me. Each episode, I'll be chatting with people from all walks of life, from elite athletes and coaches to personal trainers, members of the Defence Forces, business owners, community leaders, and everyday people with incredible stories to tell. We'll talk about challenges, successes, lessons learned, and the experiences that shape who we are. So whether you're on the road, out for a run, or relaxing at home, settle in and enjoy the conversation. Because every story has something to teach us. This is the On Your Own Time podcast. Now, let's hear their story on their own time.
Hi Kieran, how's things? Thanks very much for coming on to the live chat with me. I know I've been trying to do it with you for the last couple of weeks. You're a busy man, and how's all with you?
Hi Decky, thanks for having me on, buddy. All is good. As always, all is very busy, so that's a good sign of most
Kieran,
of
I've
the
known
time
you
anyway.
a good while now. I'm on the League of Ireland panel for the last 17 seasons, so for 17 seasons you've been coaching me on the panel. So for anybody who doesn't know you, who's Kieran McKeown? 17 years, yeah.
Geez, decade into 17 years, fucking hell. So you were actually one, yeah, I was there 20 years, so I wanted to start. Anyway, so Decky, my name is Kieran McKeown. I live in Cork City for most of my life. I work as a full-time fitness coach. I spent 20 years working with the FA as an elite fitness coach, as the national fitness coach. As a runner, I'm running since I'm 12 years of age. So I'm running, geez, I'm getting old. I'm running 39 years running and racing. And I work as one of my main businesses. I would operate as the cranky coach running. So where I would coach at the moment about 80 runners on a weekly basis. So with their training plans, I've been coaching like this for maybe the last 20 years as well. Originally, I worked as an engineer many years ago, and I kind of moved to the fitness industry then about 22 years ago. So where I started off originally as a personal trainer and injury rehab in physio clinics, I kind of moved more into the running side of things, and obviously to tie in with my own running. So that's me in a nutshell. I have 2 kids, Davin and Hannah, sports mad. So if I'm not coaching or training, I end up coaching them or managing their teams, or we're big soccer fans as well. So we're either at Cork City games or Man United games as well. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So now that you're away from the FEI, away from the referees, do you abuse many referees in the stand now, or do you still hold your tongue?
I probably would have originally as a younger person. So like, geez, I'm a Cork City fan, I think since the early 90s. So one of the original ones. I live very near the ground. You probably, when you have a time referees, you're probably looking at the referees a little bit as well. But it's, yeah, I'm probably watching for things that other people don't even realize, or I probably know stuff because I've been at so many meetings, so many development things over the years, that I'd have probably a different perspective to most people in the stand. So I'm probably telling people they made the correct decision, everyone else is telling me they made the wrong decision.
And when you go to
So I'm
matches, do you
probably
watch,
too much
do
on the
you
side
look
of
out
the
for the fitness
referees.
level and what they're like in the game?
Yeah, like generally, if like at the moment over in the first division, so I'm not, I'm not seeing the bigger teams. But over the years, yeah, I would have been like, I'd know straight away. Like it's something you just pick up straight away. You know who's naturally fit, who's not. I would have had all their data to look at as well that I'm studying, so I kind of know who's fit or who's not even before I went to the match and things, I kind of, you'd learn from people who move very well in the pitch, to people who control the game very easily. So like over the years, the bigger games in Cork City were the top club. You would have had a lot of the big referees there. So yeah, I would have been watching out for that. Not so much now at the moment, but definitely when City were going well, like you will see the top referees, you will see them moving well, you will see how they control the game.
So here, we'll bring it back to
with
your early days.
experience,
So we talked about you said you were a bit of you were an engineer before you became into coaching, yeah?
Yeah. I actually worked for a union as well for a while, so I would have been on the engineering side of things. So I went to America running, came back, got homesick, came back, started working for the German company here for about 9 years. So I would have been program CNC machines, a lot of work like that, on the engineering side of things. Kind of finished up that type of work about 29,
And
and
where
then
did the
I've been
interest in sports,
coaching
the
kind of
fitness and
since
the
then,
coaching
full
begin?
time. I suppose like I would have come from a sporting household. So in Cork City here we have, even though my kids play with SARS, with St. Finbarrs, a very prominent hurling and football club. Would have been one of the only clubs to win All Irelands in hurling and football. So I live close enough to the ground. My dad would have been a top hurler back in the 60s. He would have held Christy Ring scoreless in the county final, so that's his claim to fame. He won a few county medals with the Bears, and so he would have won it, I think, in All Ireland on 21s in 1966. So that's originally like as soon as we could kind of walk, we were
That just proves the
playing
point. We
hurling
actually,
and
the last
football
few podcasts, I've been talking to a few others, and
side of things,
it's usually a lot of the athletes. When they're an athlete, it usually comes from their household. It usually comes from what their parents have done, or if it's a fitness house, a fitness background, usually the kids go on that way as well. Do you find that very important?
Yeah. Massively. Like monkey see what monkey does, definitely. Like I coach my daughter's soccer team here in Riverstone, and you can, when I'm watching games, you can pick out the people who are naturally just, it's hard work. Like it's just, the more training kids get, the better they will get. If they have a football, like I'm a big believer in camogie and hurling, that you need to have a hurling hand as soon as you're kind of can walk around. Any top hurlers you see, they will all have played hurling at a very, like, I think my daughter was down the stairs when she was 5. She was playing since she could walk around, So I think that it's a healthy house, it's more than just bringing them to train and collecting from training. I think you spend a half an hour yourself with them, the benefits are massive, massive from skill levels, and you don't need to be a genius at training. I think just kicking the ball with your kids, bringing them, running, walking, anything at all, it does make a massive difference. Active, like, yeah. Just, and
my young
I
lad,
think
he's
it's
only 3 in
encouragement
August,
as well,
but
Dick,
there's the start of this new football camp at Lone here. It's over twos. So it's literally just in a hall, they're kicking footballs, learning the basics. So that's starting next Saturday. So I'm looking forward to getting. Again, I'm looking forward. I know he's only 3 in August, but I'm looking forward to getting him in.
Brilliant.
Kicking around with other kids like in football.
It's a big thing here in Cork as well, where they have the little kickers. So, and there's a couple of ex-League of Ireland players. I think Dennis Bean, who you would have probably maybe you would have refereed in the early days. They run the little kickers, and it's brilliant. I see him a few times, and it's all indoors, so the weather doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, it is. I agree with you.
It's just having them around the environment, And one thing I really starting to notice lately, Decky, is with kids that when they have older, just from a work point of view and personal point of view, when kids have an older brother or sister who play sport, the second and the third kid pick it up so much faster because they're always watching the first kid, or they're always around it, or they're younger when they're around it, So you will see that they develop a lot faster simply because they have an older brother or sister.
Kieran, were you always involved in like long endurance runs, or was it short stuff as well?
Yeah. I suppose, Decky, I was probably lucky in a way that I wasn't great at hurling or football, so I wasn't, say, I was okay, but I wasn't talented at hurling or football. I could run around the pitch naturally all day. From, I think, about 6th class, when I lost all the puppy fat, I probably ran my first race in first year, and I'm probably lucky that I was a sprinter for the first couple of months, and then I went into 1,500-meter race, and I think I was second to the national champion. And from then on, it's just something that just came naturally. Like I won pretty much through school, so Munsters, national titles. So I was kind of lucky that it's something just came naturally. I can remember running the first cross-country race, winning it well. So I was kind of lucky that way, that I think it's something that was just naturally there, the endurance side of running, from, I was a track runner, like 800 meters, 1,500 meters, all the way through school. I can remember the only people who beat me in 800 meters in secondary school, which is the national schools, is the big thing, would be David Matthews, who was at 3 Olympics and was he was the national record holder for years. So he was the only one I remember beating me in school the whole way up when we got to the national championships. Yeah, but I think with endurance running, you can build an engine, But I think with some people, it does come naturally. You know, obviously, if you're light, you have that little bit of speed from sprinting. So when you go into 800 meters, 1500 meters, you know, it
When the
did
long
come naturally
endurance
to me,
runs,
you know.
mentally, how do you find it?
I think for me, Decky, so like, I never, like, I coached a lot of marathon runners and I have ran them, but I think I was always a more shorter distance runner. So like the max I would have raced when I was younger was maybe 5K, even into my late teens, you know. So my training was always short. It never really went over 70 minutes of training, you know. Um, which I tell people is probably one of the reasons why I can still run 38 years later, you know, 38, 39 years later, that
Yeah, I
I'm
remember,
not out running for 2 and 3 hours at a time, you know. So it's, you know, that's something people kind of
I remember
neglect
you came out
about
to
the
me a couple
time
of
in their
years ago.
legs is important as well, you know.
You started coaching me, and I'm still refereeing. And I said to you, I want to do 3 marathons this year, and you just lost the rag with me and said, "That's not your goal. That's not your goal. You're a League of Ireland referee. You shouldn't be doing marathons. One a year is probably enough." But I still remember the conversation. But I always find out about you, Kieran. The
Yeah.
reason I mentioned about the mental side of it, even with when you give your programs, you seem to touch on the mental side of it as well, which is very important. I find very important.
But Decky, I think it's something that we like. I suppose when we take running in the first place, running is the most simplest thing in the world you can do. You've just got to run in a straight line. You don't need skill. You don't need agility, and it's something you can build up. And some very good marathon runners come from that or from just building work on top of work, you know. But it's the mental toughness. I think marathon runners have massive mental toughness. Like I spend more of my time just getting people ready for the day, and it's not a training plan. It's more the mental side of things. Things go wrong, you doubt yourself, you have to get through them. You know, so it is that side of things. For running is a huge thing. Like the big slogan I always have when you're running, just turn your head off. Don't think about it. Just get out and run. It's just another run. But it's something that affects massive amount of people running wise, that they overthink it, they overanalyze, and I call it then they lose their head. I suppose the main thing we all run for, Decky, is we all run for, it's one best thing you can do for your mental health. So that's where running is. People are out and free and things, you know. But it does, like, you know, if you go running,
Oh,
Deck, you
absolutely,
come
yeah.
back, you feel a lot better after. It's
Yeah, that's
sometimes
why I
the
keep saying to
thought
people
of
as well. I
going can
always
be the
find
harder part,
it's
you
getting
know.
outside the door is the hardest part.
You Decky, like, so, like, I'm a big encourager. Like, if you're going training, don't go home first, go training first. Some people love training early in the morning. The way I work, I can probably train at lunch during the day. Most times I find that good. It's everyone you just need to find what suits everyone and where they can find opportunities to train. It might be in windows when kids are at cheer or soccer, or some people can train lunchtime or work, after work. It is, but if you go home and you think about it,
Was
believe
there a
me,
particular
that's the harder
moment
part, you
or a
know.
person that inspired you to come into coaching?
So I suppose on the running side of things, I was lucky that when I came back from America, I changed clubs a few times. I was in Leavale. We had lots of very good coaches there, including Donny Walsh, a former Olympian, and John Collins. So from their side of things, I seen how different people did a lot of stuff, you know, did a lot of things that way. Um, it's funny, but from the way I learned coaching would have been a bit through them, and just stuff I picked up myself. But it's funny, I probably learned more about coaching from a non-coach as a manager when I first came to the League of Ireland panel. It was really I developed a lot of stuff from through Pat Kelly, just about, because Pat was excellent at preparation, looking the part, being prepared, having everything ready, you know. So I would have said probably he would have had the greatest effect. And Pat was the manager as a former referee, not so much from the coaching side of things that way, but the running side of coaching things, but I would have picked up a lot of that, you know, like a coach philosophy is fine that you want to train runners in a certain way. But I think the most important thing about a coach is that you support, you help people. That's the big part, and being organized and being I think the big thing is that as a coach, like I'd be telling people, like, being a coach is not a 9 to 5 job or a 5 day week. It's a 7 day week thing. If someone has a problem on a Sunday night, you need to deal with it then. if something goes wrong, like you need to get back to people, like sometimes you're obviously more busy than others, but you need to get back to people within the day and things, So that's where I kind of probably
Yeah. So
developed the coaching side of things from, People skills, Decky. It's people skills. I think coaching is, as you know
yeah,
yourself,
people
even with your
communication,
job, it's
people
people
skills. Yeah.
skills is a big
So that
part,
rolls nicely into how did the opportunity to work with UEFA come and you elite referees?
So, yeah, so I think what happens is that UEFA, I think it's 2016, started developing more that they wanted to set up national referees in each country, So through here, Alan Kelly, one of our, I think, probably one of our top referees of all time, Alan, I knew, so we chatted about, and I started training the Cork group here in Cork. And from there, then, in a very short space of time, an opportunity came that UEFA wanted someone. So through Pat, who was the referee manager, approached me, and then it kind of just grew from there, So that's where
Brilliant.
the
And do
opportunity
you find
came
it much of a
from.
difference training referees to training
Um,
athletes, runners? Yeah.
oh yeah, massively. So it like, I suppose the best way to describe it is that you're kind of people in general. With runners, they want to train and run every day. Like you want to do 3 marathons and all this. Runners want to do more and more and more and more. So you spend most of your time actually pulling them back. So like as a coach, you're actually keeping a harness on people and then know when to leave and go at the right time. With referees, it can be the opposite way around, where they have so much going on. It's trying to fit their running training in, which is so much important, into the refereeing, So fitness, with runners, they want to run every day. Referees, you're trying to get them to, with some, you're trying to get them to train harder, to push more, just realize how much the fitness is an important element of it, and passing their fitness test, So it is a different mindset, Referees have so much else to manage, where runners just have to run. So there you can see there is a huge
And in the
difference in how
20
you have
years
to deal
you're
with
with,
the
did you
two sets of
see,
people,
has the training changed much?
Yeah, like the fitness tests have changed, the demands. I think, like, I don't think people realize that you could have a very, very fit 45-year-old referee, now, who's, especially in the Premier Division, who's like, they're all full-time professional players. They're all young. They're all fit. I see Cork City training outside a good bit. You can see that, referees really do have a tougher time now because of the fitness levels of the players, are so big. They're all full-time players. It's hard when you're a referee, when you're working full-time, when you're trying to fit everything in around it. But the level of fitness would massively, since I started the first day, referee fitness in general would be a huge, massive improvement. They're all monitored on a daily basis. Every test that you do the same test as a referee does in the Premier League, or a full-time referee does in the Spanish League or the Italian League, So there's different challenges around facilities, etc. But it has come on,
And
like,
do you
it
think it
has
came
come
on for
on
the best?
massively. Oh yeah, because like it has done, I suppose, in Europe in general. You can see the level of referees' fitness work in games of watching TV. Like, it's all of a high standard, and just through my own work over the years within different coaches in different country, you can see it has massively improved in things. Um, it's the game has got faster. The game has got faster. It can be, referees maybe 30 years ago, the players weren't full-time players, but now they are. So it has come on massively. Obviously, it can
Yeah,
improve
no, that's
more
good.
as we go along and things
So
like.
what makes a good coach?
Yeah, so this is something I think about a lot and probably change from time to time, okay? So in general in life, I think a coach is not about a training plan, and you can get a training plan online. I think as a coach, you need to be good people skills, you need to be a listener, you need to be able to make decisions, because that if you ask me a question, like, I need to give you an answer straight away and be confident about that answer. I think you need to be very honest with the people you coach. There's no point me telling a 5-hour marathon runner, which happens at times, that they're going to be running 3 hours in a short space of time, or that at 2 hours 40 marathon runners will be going to Olympics. I think it's you have to be realistic, you have to be honest, you have to be really supportive, and you have to believe in the people, And I think you have to believe in yourself that
So how
you
does
can
it,
improve
how
people.
do you adapt your coaching for elite athletes to compare to beginners?
I think it's, you just have to, this is probably something at the start that I probably took a while to learn, you know. So if you say have a very good club runner who's a 240 or 230 marathon runner, I would treat everyone the same, but you have to understand that the workload is going to be different. So like, it's realistically with running, runners will train 6 to 7 days a week. That's what a runner does. A runner trains. Their strength and conditioning stuff, their Pilates, their mobility comes on top of that, you know. For some runner at just a level below that, you just have to understand that, you know, they might train 3 days a week. So you work off the basis of that, you get the good quality of training in, you know. You have to understand that at times they're going to miss sessions and things. So you just have
What
to
are the
guide
biggest
them through
barriers
that and
stopping
things like,
people
you know.
from getting started with running?
Jesus, we could be all that about that. No, you know, the biggest barriers would be, I think, I find for over the years that women, they're, it's confidence sometimes about women about running. Generally, guys are okay, but I find now women are a lot more confident about running. They, like, I always find that women work very hard. They work harder in training. They're very good, meticulous wise and stuff, you know, about training plans. I think in general in sport, women is massively, from soccer, from all sports, has improved massively. Like the skill levels now, like I'm watching the 12 games and the girls, you know, they're tough out, they're tougher. I tell everyone the girls are tougher than the boys, you know, so their skill levels are huge. The barriers at the start can be like when, you know, when people get older, you know, 15, 16s, girls seem to get turned off sports. So this is something you really have to be careful of. Other people's barriers for running is like, it's time. Geez, we all live in a very busy society, you know. It's time. It's, you know, no one, like not having support. I think support is a huge thing to have. It's sometimes, it's like we can run anywhere, Decky, but like, you know, we're still probably lagging behind in facilities and places, you know. So I think they're the main barriers. I think it's time, people's mindset, you know, you do need to give people support, you know, and you'll see now, like, Decky, that there's a huge amount, all over the country, that we have a huge amount more not the 5K programs, especially for runners
She
that,
rolls it nicely, because
you
I
know,
was actually
people
going to talk
excelling
about
in these, like,
any
you know.
advice that you give to someone that actually wants to start running.
So yeah, this is the biggest thing I tell people: start running and start small. Don't be worrying about a marathon. So this is the big thing at the moment. People do not the 5K, and then within 6 or 8 weeks they want to start oil training for a marathon. You know, I'm always telling people: start small, build the base. Remember why you're running. You're running for your mental health, for your fitness. You know, if I was an insurance man selling insurance policies against, you know, against sickness and things like that, fitness is one of the most important. Healthy eating and fitness is one of the most important things that you do. So when you start off, it's to start small. Remember, running, don't overcomplicate it. Running is the easiest thing to do. So get out and run. Get to some races. Like, there's so many races, you know, Decky, like, even where you were up there in that lawn, like there's even around the Offaly area, like there's so many races on every week. You know, like in Cork here,
Park runs as
this
well.
week
That
alone,
new
there was
park runs
5
have got in
races,
every week.
you know, and even in the Munster area. Yeah, 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 there is, like, so there's stuff every week there, but it's to get out, start small and build in from there up. Okay, don't be getting out running and then in 6 months' time want to do a marathon. I kind of encourage people to get out running
Yeah,
and wear something you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Sorry, go on there.
So it's, yeah, and to keep it
Yeah,
simple,
no,
Decky,
absolutely, yeah.
it's running is simple.
I actually
It's
see
to
the
keep it
park run.
simple.
We've one not too far away from the house, and every Saturday morning it is absolutely chock blocked, and it's actually getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, you can actually see more people on the roads now as well.
Oh, massively. But like, I ran up a lot around your area, Decky, up around Offaly. And it's funny, that is one thing I noticed, like in Cork, we've so many walkways. Like, it's like, it could be like a social club on a Sunday or Saturday morning. There's so many people out, like all these greenways, they're actually fantastic for running, you know, that you do see, like, Jesus, anywhere I go, there's people running all the time. So there's a big running boom on. The park runs are brilliant. I think usually here, like in Cork, I think there's 5 or 6 park runs, but there's one in Tramore Valley Park, which is a very good one. They would have a huge crowd on a Saturday morning. The one in Ballincollig, which I think was one of the first ones in Ireland, they could have, 400 or 500 people. Some Saturday mornings running, and like, Decky, where you are there and that alone, like, you do have, I always see a lot of people from up around there running on the walkway by the track, like, I try to encourage people, like, you have, in around Offie there, you have lovely, in Tullamore, you have all the walkways, by the canal, I ran every mile of that and stuff. Now, you wouldn't see, in some of the parts, you wouldn't see as many as here in Cork. Like here, sometimes you're actually avoiding people. There's so many people out running, And in Dublin, it's the same, like, which is brilliant. I think all these things, we're saying about facilities, these things, they're
I actually bring
they're brilliant for people to run,
block runs or any of that stuff. I bring them up to Greenway because it's good for them, like. And it's all lit up as well. It's all well lit up as well, and
it's fantastic.
there's running clubs there as well because they've a marked every couple of 100 meters.
But doesn't it, like, it makes a massive difference when it's even a season marked
training,
out,
Do you think it's important for runners?
Geez, strength training is probably, like, strength and conditioning work is probably one of the most important things runners do, and I think that it does, like, from injury wise, like I send our lads out to try and get them to do 1 or 2 sessions every week. I'm probably a big believer that you can do more stuff at home, it's like myself and yourself, like, we're both Pilates teachers. I think Pilates is a huge thing for people just in general to keep them injury free, So it's probably one of the most important things to do. The only thing that worries me sometimes is that when I'm training people for running and they want to really progress, I'm trying to explain to them that the strength and conditioning must come on top of the running, especially for athletes who want to do, who want to really move forward, that the strength and conditioning is vital, but it needs to come on top of the running. So I'd see people that maybe they're doing 3 strength training a week and maybe 2 runs, and I'm saying, no, like, we need to go running 4 days a week. Running is one sport that you have to run.
I was saying to you, I did Limerick Marathon this year, and I done Dublin last year, and I was the coach as you, and I was more committed to the one in Dublin than I was for Limerick, because Dublin was off season and then Limerick was in season, and it's tough, yeah. So, like, I didn't really get my long running, but I felt comfortable. After Dublin, I felt I had more in the tank to finish. On the finish, even when I finished, I felt strong. And then I went to Limerick, and I was like, no, this is not a sport you can wing. You can't wing this. I suffered from about 17 miles. So you definitely need build an engine, as you said a while ago.
No, you can't. Yeah, Decky, it's like, you can go to, like, this is one thing more people, you can go to a 5K, you can go to a 10K, and to a certain degree in a half marathon, right? And you can have half your homework done. And you might run a PB, but you'll get away with it, especially in the shorter races. In the marathon, it's unforgiving. That's what I always tell people, that, even Decky, like, when you're training, you're doing a match, it's 95 minutes, but it's very, very different. For the marathon, you have to have the time on your legs. You have to have the time on your legs. If you don't, you'll get to 20 miles or 70 miles or even 21 miles and everything will just shut down. It's something you can't mimic. In the gym or anywhere else, you have to get the long runs in for the marathon, And that's why sometimes I'm veering people away from the marathon for good reason, because it is time consuming. It is time consuming.
We talk about lows. I can tell you at Limerick, or even say hit this wall. I don't even know if that's real or any of that stuff. Like, but I can tell you from 17 mile, I suffered. It was.
Limerick is like, I've done the half there a few times. Limerick is not an easy marathon as well, especially when you come up around by the Gaelic grounds. There's a few hills that are a killer, but it can be, like, a marathon can be a fantastic experience if you've the homework done. It can be horrendous experience if you don't. You can do everything right for the marathon, and on the day you can be sick, you can have something come up, a small injury, and it can be really, really tough. The one thing about the marathon is that if I run a bad 5K on Monday, 2 weeks' time or the following week, I can run another 5K, I can make up for it. In the marathon, it's all on the day. And this is the tough,
I don't know how many emotions
the
I went through in
marathon is
Limerick. At one stage,
I
said, I think this is grand here. Then I've said to myself, I'm never doing a marathon again. And then I got to the finish, and I was like, geez, I might do Longford.
But usually, Decky, the day, like people,
Yeah.
most people have crossed the line in the marathon. They said, Jesus, never again, never ever again. And then by the evening, they're kind of wondering they're doing it. And by the next day, then
Yeah.
they're booked in for the marathon. So it is huge. It is a huge draw. Like it is a massive, big occasion. It's like a cup final for a referee, right? It is the crowds. If you're at the Cork Marathon, the Dublin Marathon, you have massive crowds. If you go to marathon abroad again, so it is a massive high in things, But again, I'm trying to tell people like that. There's lots of races in Ireland where that the shorter distance races, like the Raheny 5 mile, I would describe it as a marathon just over 5 miles because you've everyone out on the roads in Dublin for that. Like there's other races as well, the short race that you can get the same thing and stuff, But the goal I'm always telling people is if you decide to do a marathon, you got to put the work in because there's no way around it otherwise, And the tough bit then, Decky, is that like if I'm training, say, someone, we said like Barry Tui did, he was sub 230 in Cork this year. And say Andy Goulding, they ran very good races. Their training is actually less than someone who's training for a 4-hour marathon because they're longer runs. They're maybe an hour less on their legs. So in a way, training for a shorter marathon, or sorry, faster marathon time-wise, is actually easier because you have so much less time on your legs.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the
it's
longer
tough.
marathons are really tough,
Small bit about your small bit about the Pilates. So you're obviously a Pilates instructor for a good few years. I done the course recently, and it has a really female orientated name on it, doesn't it?
Massively, and yeah, you're right, Decky. It's like I'm teaching Pilates for these years and years now, and a lot of the classes I would do was for the ETB, and the Cork City Partnership. It's rare. It's rare. I'd say that I've had men's only classes for GA, but it's something guys don't tend to wonder to. I think this year I don't think. Well, maybe I had 3 or 4 guys this year in the classes. It's a huge thing that people don't realize that the importance of Pilates. It's for mobility, to strengthen your back, strengthen your core, strengthen your glutes. And then Pilates, you can bring other elements in as well. Like you can have some little bits of strength and conditioning moves within your Pilates as well. It's what I tend to do in things, in Cork we have a good social side of our classes as well. But I think it's one thing that guys they get turned off very fast about it, I don't think they like, they like being in the gym, but patience to be on a mat for an hour
Well, it's actually funny because
sometimes is tough. It's
we're doing
tough.
it in the
It's
army
tough,
at the moment, and we're getting a few very, 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 very good runners doing it. And my God, they're just never experienced it, and they're back every week now because they see the benefits of a Pilates class to all sports, like to athlete, to Gaelic players, soccer players, but even to runners, the flexibility and the strength and the ease and of the movement,
Oh, massively, massively. Like when I go into companies now, the only thing I go into a few companies there to do Pilates, and you will in that I will usually have 50-50 guys and men, but in the other class you don't have, and it's something that, I think some people you're lying down for an hour, you're switching off. I think the switching off side of it is very, very, very important. Usually I do some meditation at the end of the classes as well, and I think that's a very important side of things as well. When we do running weekends and stuff, we would include that in it, and it has a good, people do like it then. But I think the problem with runners is that, as runners, us as well now, Decky, like we always want to run. That's what comes first. It's running, 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 like if you do it part of a team thing, you will get guys to do it, Sean. Like you have huge opportunity there that you have guys that you can train with and do with, So I think
like
then when they
even
get
like
to
in the
see it,
hips
it
and
does
stuff.
make
Like
a
there's a lot
massive
of
difference for them,
like people go stretching or cool down after a session. They're just doing the basic stretches. They're not doing the actual movement and the movement of our body is meant to be running. The natural alignment that our body is meant to be moving. That's it. I can't praise it enough anyway. Yeah.
No, but it's movement through a range of motion, Decky. But just even to teach people how to activate their core and keep it on is a massive thing, So like if I'm teaching people, even if they're doing some strength and conditioning, and trying to get them to activate the core. And again, I've done some with some basketball players here, and it's and they do buy into it a little bit because it's not like I'm saying to them, like, if you improve your posture, everything improves upon, that if your posture is a lot better, you improve upon carrying the ball better. You can see more of the game because your head is not down. So the posture side of things is a huge thing that I think people will start to buy into that sports-wise, that
Yeah, no,
improves
it
their
is. And
posture-wise. So that's a good
I
part
look,
to play this as well.
looking at the athletes who actually does it. Ryan Giggs and Ronaldo does it religiously 3 times a week. So you can see what they're.
But look how old Ronaldo is, and he still played the full game the other night. Like he's still Ronaldo is probably the most outside. I said not the soccer side, but as an athlete, he's probably one of the best athletes that was ever there in any sport. Just how fit he is, how strong he is, And again, all these things make part of his. Like your training plan is like a pie chart. It needs to have little bits of everything in there, And Plaid has a part of that as well, and it's getting people to buy into that, and then they do see what you find, Decky, is that with people who are injured, then they'll want to do everything. So we're trying to get them to do it before they get to that stage,
Two different types of Pilates.
That's the challenges
There's
as a
mat
coach.
Pilates, and then there's the reformers Pilates. Obviously, both are excellent, but like obviously the reformers are very expensive. The classes are expensive, and the equipment is very expensive. But on the mat Pilates, all you need is a mat. Yeah.
So, like that's what I teach on mat work Pilates. It's most instructors and that have a good level of qualification and things. I think for a reformer, sometimes you don't actually need the qualification Pilates wise. So reformer can be a little bit different. Reformer is brilliant for injury rehabilitation, and I would, like, if I was doing a reformer class, I would always try and tell people to go to physio based one, which are excellent and stuff, again, Decky, and the classes are expensive, where generally Pilates is generally a cheap class, and that's all you need a mat, and you can do, like, I try to teach people to do little bits and pieces at home and things as well, because
Moving
it
on to
does make a massive difference.
your actually cranky coach group. Tell us a bit about that. How'd you start it?
So I think originally there was always some form of the group there over the last 20 years, but I've kind of put more time and kind of concentrate fully on it. Like I would have coached runners when I was personal training. When I stopped personal training, then say maybe 7-8 years ago, I kind of concentrated more on the runner side of things, The name Cranky Coach came from just one girl I coached, and I was telling her to do a little bit more. She was always cranky about it, So it was a play on words, and as a business, it's just catchy, so people get a laugh and a joke off it, So our group now at the moment, we have 80 runners, all different levels, say from sub 230 marathon runners all the way up to 4-hour marathon runners. And I think the philosophy of the group is that I try to teach people, my main goal is to keep people running, obviously to improve people. Like I want people running in 10 years time or 15 years time and things, So that's one element of it. I always do. I don't tend to be, as a coach, a high mileage coach. So I'm not, except maybe some of the guys, but there's no one kind of running 70, 80 miles a week. Most of the runners run under 50 miles a week. We do good quality sessions. I'm always there to support, but I'm lucky that there's other guys within our group that are very experienced runners as well, people like Andy, Barry. So they also, there's also lots of very good advice within the group from other people, Anyone in our group, they get their training plan. The way I work is it's once a week you get your training plan. I don't give people training plans by the month, because I found from just learning over the years that if you send some people out a training plan for a month, things get in the way. You don't get as much feedback or communication, and people tend to wander. They look at week 2 when they're at week 1, or they look too far ahead, So I'm a big believer. You take it a piece of the jigsaw at a time, 1 week at a time. If something goes wrong, Decky, you can change things very, very, very fast. If someone has a little niggle, if they're sick, you can change things in a day or two, So that's the way I would work, coaching wise, I encourage people, their strength and conditioning side of things, to do it, to work on their nutrition. We pick bigger races for the year that people work towards, I would say as a coach, I can make accessible. This is what I do every day, 7 days a week. So I'm accessible to chat to the runners most days. Some people would text every day. Some people, it's maybe once a week. It depends. Some people, some people like a different level of support other people, So it's very much tailor made to suit what people's goals are and things, As a coach, I suppose like I'm realistic about, I tell people like, I'm not going to tell you that you're going to the Olympics or you're not going to the World Championships. I'm not a kind of salesman that way, but it's my philosophy is just help support, and the main thing is to keep people running because our mental health, our wellness, our fitness, our health are the most important things, So that's why I try and encourage. And also, obviously people want to get their goals.
Where do
They
you
want
see
to run
Cranky
PBs
Coach
and
Group
things
in the
like,
next 2 to
which
3
is
years?
hugely important. I think we'll grow a little bit more, but again, it's something with, when you're the one person running it yourself, there are ceilings about the amount of people you can coach and stuff like, so I'm probably very near that and things like, so I embrace technology. So I think these are some things over time that, as I develop as a coach, that side of things I work on, how we develop, how we monitor people. I think how we give people feedback. These are the things that'll probably change over the next 12 months, that you have a better experience for the people you coach. I think feedback is important. It's one thing, how people manage that then is how I'll probably look at changing things as we come and things like, it's like sometimes people don't want a huge amount of information. And sometimes if you're over-analyzing stuff, it can have the opposite effect, It can have, you need to judge the person. Like, so if I'm giving you feedback and numbers and figures, it's different than giving someone else the same feedback.
Where can people find you?
So we have, the main point is our Instagram page, Decky, our Cranky Coach Instagram page. And like I'm on Facebook just under my own name, Kieran McKeown. On Instagram, it's the Cranky Coach. On Strava, it's the Cranky Coach. You can add me there on Strava, and then just through the phone as well and things like. So they're the main communication we use. Like Instagram will be the big one.
Yeah, I'm with
and
you for the last
Facebook,
couple of years there, and I
think
find
Strava as well.
we're on a WhatsApp page as a group, and I find the community you've built very, it's impressive. Like, so fair play to you, Kieran.
Yeah, so Decky, I think, but like Decky, it's more than like there's you're meeting. It's a community, so you're meeting friends. If someone wants help with something, you can help them out. Like, I don't have all the answers, Decky. Like, no coach will ever have all the answers. You're just learning more and more as you go along. But like, even if it's something about, we have Brian Fox in our group, who's one of the best physios, in the country. So there's access to people as well. Like, so when you have more people in the community, you have more resources, you have more people, that all the races are put up there, or everything that's happening is put up there. You have people in different clubs, like you have Kieran and St. Finbarrs, who's a great help with helping with stuff, So like, it's the community, there's other people there to help, Even coming down to Decky, like, I'd probably guess a sales job selling for Nike and stuff, but other people then will, they'll be talking about, different types of runners, they'll give feedback on that, different types of gear. So all that stuff is vitally important as well, like, And like everything, Decky, is the more you put into something, the better you get and stuff,
absolutely.
So just that side of things as well, like, And you're, Decky, I think the big thing is, like, say, even refereeing wise and your running wise, you're around positive, like-minded people.
All you
and I
can
think
do, you
that's
can
a
bring a
massive
donkey
help.
too well, but you can't make him drink it. So you can give him the best program in the world, but you can't make him do it.
Yeah, that's right. But you see, I think we're yeah, but I think it's run. There's no problem with runners that way. It's getting runners to drink the water at the right time, if you get what I mean. You've no problem with runners training. It's actually keeping them back is different, So these were the things you have to learn and stuff, like, So it's amazing that
that's
runners
brilliant,
just want to
Kieran.
run.
So we leave it there, Kieran. So thanks very much for coming on with us today. I'll be touching base with the next few weeks again, and we might have you on. Later episodes talking through how's Cranky Coach going again.
Brilliant, Decky. Thanks for the opportunity,
anyway,
and best of luck with the podcast now. And remember the most important thing, Decky.
and when they call you Cranky Coach, it's probably followed you perfectly. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks very much, Kieran, for joining us.
That's right.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Decky. Talk to you soon, Bucky. Thanks, Decky. See you, Decky.
That's it for today's episode. If you've enjoyed the conversation, please take a second to like, comment, and share this video. It helps the channel grow and helps us reach more people with great stories. And remember, if you have a story to tell, we want to hear it. Get in touch through the comments or send us a message. Your story could feature in a future episode. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support, and we'll see you in the next one.